Welcome back. So, I've got a couple more shalograms, and then we'll see what happens. But I'm going to do another episode about shalograms. We're going to go through like 5 right now, and then some others, maybe. Okay. I was thinking this is like 350. We're going to have around 360. And I really need to revisit them. Like, go back in the list and look at them again. I've been basically looking at new ones, taking pictures, talk about them, look at them, take some pictures, look at those, look around, find ones that I find interesting, cut snippets like so, save it, and just talk about the images. And I've just been doing that so much that I haven't really taken the things I've gleaned across that process and went back to the beginning where I was first looking at them to see what they can show, the ones I already looked at. Okay, so here we see the spiral around as well as over there, so like a connection. We've been talking about having a base, like so the opposite side of this rock, and then a top side that the current flows from the base up to the top and then begins to spiral out and produce like a ammonite shape that cuts off the connection from bottom to top. So we see the connection here. And perhaps even we see like a flow this way that goes around, and generally interacts like outward like that, but flows in along like this boundary, creating a mound, and then up this way and spirals in, producing this shape at the peak because there's enough current, I guess, here. Usually it doesn't, it's just like this, it's just a mound, as you may be aware. But in this instance, it looks like it was actually enough current to induce a small, at least partial formation of an ammonite structure. Okay, then we see out there, just noting some structures around it. Interesting, if there's a current going up this way that like runs across and then across, maybe it's interacting in those places, or coming to the center and then shooting out. On the side not protected by the mound prevents the current from producing enough of a flow to actually get through, so instead it goes through these sides, and then it interacts with the current that's going around, and then in, so it's interacting with it, going across it, and then just vibrating across it because the pressure is pushing it generally out. Possibly in like a counter spiral direction, like it wants to go this way. Opposite side of the rock, so we can see much more material here. Although we see a bunch of little etchings, either from exterior flowing in or from interior flowing out. Then we see this side, where we then see that there was an actual ammonite shape forming down on this side of the rock. It's down here. So down here, now we can kind of see the color. I guess it's just this whole thing, cross-section there. Which also, like, is only part of this. It doesn't really connect with this. This one looks like it goes into the interior. Like this. Like this. Like, it looks like it's this one, and the other one looks like it's one of these. At maybe a 60-degree angle slice. Makes me think of the petals. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, where might I have saved that out of? Whatever. We'll just have to look at the earth. Hello. Also Gurnar. I guess I should have went to Gurnar first. Where there's like a unit, and then there's a central unit that from it come out these petals like a flower. Which also happens at Gurnar, where there's all these petals. That then have like shapes, like here's a spiral. Over here is a nucleus structure that maybe is connected in a similar way. To, like, even like that, where like the chakras at the boundary of a shape like this. And then it had cross currents coming out of this spiral here that were, I guess, going out into the surround, like it went into the rock beyond the encased current going around the rock, but then it went out into that current to exit the eddy location, and it ended up just being bent by that current to then preferentially flow along the boundary of the rock these ways. But at all of these exit points, being pushed by currents. It looks like, from this side, it really looks like this is the bottom, and this is that top piece that's feeding into the spiral. So really, these are perhaps from the bottom. Maybe like channels that this eddy ended up putting the current that was passing from the mound through. From the mound through the spiraling eddy to then come out the other side through channels that it then fed back towards the nucleus here, that it then kind of concentrated a mass and was able to then push a current opposite out this way, so it went in this way, out this way, like driving current, and driving current and with such intensity maybe that it physically pushed in like dendritic fingers that are maybe not dendritic in this instance, but several locations, pressure points that a current of material of like highly water based was pushing into a more rock based and just moving the boundary that the rock would have, cutting these etchings in, possibly being caused to go down into the rock because of interaction with cross current that's going this way. Seemingly, this is definitely going this way here, which is definitely related to those. So maybe I have these backwards. Could this be the bottom? Where maybe because it was the bottom, it had enough material to begin to form its own system down here. And it did, and it made this look like a top wood. Because both sides look like either could be. This looks flat, much flatter than this side. So this is probably the top still. Maybe it's just like short circuiting, going from the top and right back to the bottom. One line there. Lots of them here. This one's complex. Line there. I wonder if these are like beam-like, but then they preferentially go around a current going this way, go around it, and end up being redirected around this mound. Go out there and up this way, around this way. Current coming in and hitting the mound, maybe. This one's complex. I'm not sure what to make of it. Definitely like the end of a structure, and this is interesting. Like it blew out a chunk of it. Maybe an even bigger chunk that then just had this current flow across it and overlay like a portion of it, but not cover the whole. So maybe underneath this, it's got more like this that just has layers of this atop it. There. Flowing over, around. It's definitely flowing this way. So this is the bottom, yeah. Okay. Let's check out this one. This one's interesting because it looks like there's like a pressure, I guess this way, flowing in. And then there's a current that's wrapping around this that is causing the blob to like morph and become this little like protrusion thing atop the current. The current's going around here and even bending in around here, bending in. looks like it's going that way, but from that angle, it looks like it's like counter. Like there's an inlet and then it goes around and applies a back pressure around and applies a back pressure. So there's maybe a current wrapping generally around like, oh, I think that'll go in. I don't see any striation things very much. Looks like here, almost like it was wind blown or just water eroded from the current coming across. Where this mound protects this area here, it doesn't have those features. Other side, we see a current going across there pretty good. Okay. Cool. Also, this is half missing. But it's got the center piece entirely, so it's got a whole piece instead of like a half. Although it can break at quarters, and at halves it tends to very much. This little piece broke off so you can kind of see inside. Looks almost like a brain. This is a little lopsided. Bigger over here. I mean, I guess in a fossil world that's possible, but from a current analysis, it's just interesting. Can't really see that chakra in this image. Maybe another. Very odd. Also relatively parallel to this. Adding to the oddity of it all, plus this, adding to the oddity, plus this involved. That one doesn't really seem to go with these. It seems almost like a cross current at a point, like it might be happening there too. And then at that mouth there, at the corner of the mouth, there's these currents going this way. This one seems to go over towards there. And even to have like something going that way and something going this way, maybe to there. And then over this way, possibly approaching resistance of like a eddy here that makes it kind of just pull there and etch, but just that's all it did. This line points over to this. There do seem to be some of these going this way, mostly going this way it seems, definitely some going that way. And this way in part. That way it looks like maybe. Whoa. Looks like an Egyptian hieroglyph of a bird. Maybe a Native American hieroglyph of a man. think when I was reading one of the shallogram discussions, this was called like an arrow, a mark of the arrow, where it's like a beam. So like over here as well, here, especially when it's a beam that like runs along the surface and etches a beam mark. That's crazy that how much of a bird that is. Like what? Oh, and another, like a stag antler or something. Maybe a rabbit even. Oh, and like a chipmunk with it facing forward this way with arms. Oh my god. Man, looks kind of like a mosquito here. Okay, okay. Wow. That's cool though. Oh, and like a turtle maybe now? Wow. Brain. It's got so many features on this one that maybe some kind of like whale or dolphin type things going above the wake. Not sure if that's the right word. Okay, but let's see what is up. This has that spiral, those things going that way, which then goes over towards there maybe. This one's tricky to piece together. That thing that way. Those that way. Maybe if we can find the other face. The spiral up. It doesn't even have this side of the spiral. I think I saved every picture. There, maybe? Wow. 90-degree angle. Some parallel things that seem related to that. Almost like a current's going this way, which we can even see in the rock. Going this way and interacting with a current here. Bending down. So I guess going this way. And a current going this way pushes it down and then it goes back up, but it etches in as well. Maybe it goes down, etches into the rock, which then causes an eddy, which then helps the current go back in the direction that it was going, as well as it drains even further down because of this current pushing it this way. That's maybe more jet-like, like narrow stream sourced from over there or somewhere. Okay, there's the turtle. Okay, if that's the turtle. We were just looking at that, which then means a current's coming this way. Which maybe is being bent generally that way. Or it's going this way. Through here. Maybe even going out like that. Or even out like that. Interacting with a current wrapping around that way, maybe? Possibly because there's a resistance here of another current going into the rock here. That then, as this approaches it, like the portion directly at it and the portion directly to the side, maybe some reason they interact enough, where there's resistance between them. Like once it's past there, its flow from here is going like the same direction. Either the like no difference in X, Y, Z, or like the same direction in one of them, then they merge and stop becoming so turbulent, maybe. Let's see if we can play some stuff. Without this having this might be that. So the bird structure actually has an opening. Okay, so the bird structure is related to a current that's generally going this way. That then comes over there. And then there's a current that's either wrapping around with like a chakra interior or just flowing along this generally that interacts with a current coming up this way at that boundary, as well as maybe at this boundary. I'm not sure why it would be arced towards this one. And then creating that at the interaction of those two. Maybe this interacts with the end of that as well. As like a starting point. Like from across like that. Going through this way and then out and along the rocks while a current goes along the rock this way, and then they interact where it goes under and slices in, but then there's another current here which then like squishes this region and produces chakras in there. Maybe if there's chakras, it looks like there might be at least some kind of like saw blade action within there. Below we see some interesting things. Whew, this thing. So there's that going across. There, probably something going from this point across that way. Let's see this line here. Looks closely tied to this. So then this was... Wait a minute. Oh yeah. Oh. It's a different one. The one I was just looking at was this one. The one that comes across this way goes this way. It isn't visible here. But it's over here on the opposite side. Goes across this way. Meets, I guess, where this one does. So maybe there's a current going this way that causes this one to just bend. And then as it approaches a current wrapping around here, it bends a bit again, maybe. And then this goes across and then etches in there. This with a little bit of wrapping around, like it's a belt or something. Okay, we can kind of see in there. So it does look like it just kind of went along the surface with up like sideways. So it's doing some kind of vortex etching as it goes, which probably leads to currents going out this way, interacting with the current going that way, interacting by going around this way. Maybe also interacting around the rock to like this boundary, like playing a major role in the formation of those things. It looks like a bunch of thing of that nature happened. Maybe a crab. From that angle. I still see the bird too. An eyeball right there. All of these being like focus beams in the midst of currents that are wrapping around the rock perpendicular along an axis like this way, with like a pole up here and a pole at the opposite side. Whoa. How incredible. It's like a 9, a 9, and a 9. 9,999 steps. Mount Girnar. I'm looking for another 9. I'm like, there's probably one over here. There's gotta be another little beep. I could say there's one there, but some kind of interaction there too. Like maybe a spiral is forming. Current going this way. Current going this way. Current going this way. This way? There's those 9s. So maybe it goes this way too. Like divides. And then comes back and joins as one current over here. And then divides. So where they join, they really create turbulence. Looks like it starts coming back to join over there. So maybe these are related to those currents remerging. Open. I don't know where that is. That way. It's a squirrel again. Alright, squirrel. I think the last one I called chipmunk. But I was just thinking if it was the astronaut guy. I still don't know what to call him. Joel. Seems. I don't know. That's my last supervisor's name. So it's a little strange to me to call it that specifically. Maybe a name, I don't know anyone. I don't know. This thing for anyone who's like, what is he talking about? Whoa, that's a cool one. Nice. I'm gonna check it out. Very cool. Oh, that's so cool. And the like black space color sky. Maybe more of an air and a fire. I think all the details are in line. They just chose the coloring. Very cool. I love when people do this in their own way because then it exemplifies or it accents specific features, I guess, that I don't see otherwise. Okay. So, I do have some of these I just didn't take screenshots from, so this is the website let's see, I literally do this. Like, are there any new ones? I've taken pictures of all of these. But many I haven't, so like, there's at pages of 36, there's 47 pages at this point, whatever that is. Let's say 47 times 36. Something of that nature. I have like 400 total, including ones from other people. So they have a lot of shallograms. Many of them are carved, which I don't have any pictures of, like these. But interestingly, I'm going to try to find one. Like this one, you can see the back on it. So it's, I haven't looked around to see what exactly like that. Exactly like that, because this is one side where they carved into it. Which is kind of interesting because then it just gives a artistic cross-section with depth of different regions at different depths of the rock. To look at this kind of thing, I think with the art it's a little It's hard to see what's going on. Unless there's really pronounced characteristics in it. Here, it's kind of subtle. Maybe it points to certain locations that are, like, most prominent naturally in the structure. Maybe a 9. I never really looked at these, but some of them have some hidden shallogram features that are not just like etched into. I don't even know how they do it so precisely. Like a drill, like one on knee. I don't know. This one's odd. Like what? It's almost like it just barely started to do larger shallogram features, and this chunk just got expelled early on when it just had these features in it, and then like it was its own unit. That current went around more smoothly. Maybe, I don't know. This one's odd. I don't know what to make of it. Another one with just a bunch of currents wrapping around it. I was looking at these like maybe I should, just because there's a bunch of currents on them that are distinct enough, maybe I should look at these closer. But they have so many currents on it, it's almost like overwhelming. Like clearly there's very much cross currents that are just going past each other that are strong enough that they don't like waver until they hit each other, and then they just kind of go above and below. They form some equilibrium where one of them pushes out a boundary and the other one like forms a steps to go up, and over it pushes down the other current but it flows over it, like forming an actual separation, so that they just pretty much just continue. So this shows us for sure. Well, I guess it doesn't for sure. If this current's going this way, then this current was going this way. Which maybe we can look around and see other interactions to get a better idea. Like here, it's probably the same thing. If it's flowing this way, and then it hits this current, then it's going to bend it, potentially. If it's not strong enough, it looks like it wasn't strong enough. And then it bent it to a far enough distance away where and the distance away from here, maybe center between like this, and went this way. Okay. Because then we see this going kind of sideways. Like, oh wait, something's pushing this boundary out. So I've moved over a bit. So it wasn't quite as able, I guess. Also probably because of this and this pushing into it. So these are probably flowing this way over that way. And then this is flowing this way. No. Wait a minute. It's like opposites. Maybe it's bending into it. Where this one, so it's going this way, and it just bends into it, so it doesn't stagger like this one. very sharp, and then coupled with that, kind of with almost a triple junction. Looks like the Millennium Falcon. Okay, it's the Millennium Falcon. It's got a little cross. This thing's interesting. Like, what? Makes me think of currents hitting each other and then spreading out in opposite directions. Instead of like one going across, one going across. But I would expect to see like rings around it showing that to have happened, and probably some more etching. So maybe not. Maybe it was just two cross currents that were really strong. But yeah, this one I don't know what to say. That's why I'm nothing definitive. That's why I didn't take any pictures, maybe. So I was like, I don't know what exactly to say about it. This has a top that has a little thing going on there. Bottom side, maybe? Or maybe this is the top side. That's probably the top side here. Maybe the bottom, because this looks almost like it's downwelling here. Which would... I guess that could be the top, or the bottom, I mean. Just flowing to the sides. Connected through here. This is probably the top. Okay. And then maybe wrapping around this way and just going like that while also wrapping around this way, making a boundary between those. And then in this way and around this way, making a boundary there and a boundary there between like the main out current and then like more inner bending currents, producing boundary there. Or this was just etched, like not shaped by the precise flows in, but etched by some cross current. For some reason it gives me that feeling though of currents flowing in. I saw that recently in another one I was talking about that I didn't mention it there. If I look for this, I got maybe this one, yeah. Oh my god, I found it that fast. This one right here, like it's going up this way, I said. And then I just said it's wrapping around like this. But really, I think it's going up. And it's also going up here. And holding a boundary here. And then wrapping in. So this one kind of just fills there. And then pressure outgasses over that way. But this one goes in here and fills this one, and then there's another boundary here that maybe it like filled in like to here and kept flowing this way and ended up flowing around and adding more material over here, but creating these boundaries in the process. That's kind of what I was thinking. So that's probably going on here as well. Can see that kind of arcing. It's almost like it goes out this way and just fills in there. Not sure why it's arcing that way. I guess this boundary just manages to extend itself by whatever exactly that allows for, like flow to maybe fill in, like a water flow to fill in, and it just etches into it. Okay. Then there's this one. This one's interesting. Like, whoa. So this is the top, this is the bottom where all the mounds are forming from it draining through. And I guess doing so in weird ways. But then reconnecting up, we can even see angled, like, ramping around there, maybe. Definitely there, I just don't know about the rest. But all these mounds at the bottom, and then notice, like, around the equator-ish or whatever, where it's almost pinching too much. These blobs are too big, and like it's getting pinched by a current wrapping around it this way that then like pushes in here and pushes this lobe, which we then see here. Like there's a current wrapping around and boom, shoving into this angle and just making it weirdly shaped. It even like it's like, whoa, man. Maybe that's even why it is creating these. Like it pushes it to the side and it reaches out an arm that it can just extend as like another stabilizers that formed. An arm and against this current shoving into it that maybe shoved into the ammonite itself that then like squeezed material out that way maybe, and I guess some other way maybe is possible. And it pooped its pants, it looks like. Another one like this. I didn't really look at it except for to notice it was like the other ones I liked. Pretty strong hexagonal there. This is weird looking. Whoa. They're spiky here. Rounded, spiky. Somewhat rounded, rounded. Maybe rounded. Rounded, rounded. More and more rounded. Spiky, spiky, spiky. Spiky, but maybe even dendritically there. I don't know what to make of that. I guess this was the top and the water was just flowing in, pressuring in, and then bringing the material out on this side, but there was so little material left that it was just etching without any fuel source besides just water etching through the rock that it did this to it and drained out through here and then wrapped around and etched through and around and through and around. Looks like we got a turtle, like a sea turtle over there at least, in terms of one of its paddles, but the head over here, shell. Okay, in case anyone was like, what? This makes me, what was that show on Cartoon Network in the 90s? That bug. Maybe. I want to say Harvey. There it is. This dude. Adult Swim. Space Ghost. Yeah, Zorak. There we go. I mean, I don't... Okay, I just had to make sure we had a good picture of him before we look at the rock once more. Not really, no. Thinking like over here where his arms. No, okay. Okay, I was having fun with it, what can I say? We're about to hit an hour, I guess I could stop. This one's kind of weird because it looks like it started as just like a nucleus. This side. And then it formed a spiral inside. But maybe, maybe it formed many spirals inside that layered in a, like they were becoming part of a larger spiral that formed a part of a larger spiral inside where it just created this structure within one rock without creating the rest of the spiral of the ammonite. Like, it really looks like it formed contained within the boundaries of this rock. Or it was like a broken off piece from somewhere that then had enough material like put onto it. I don't know. I feel like forming within it makes more sense to me. Maybe it's possible it just like springs up at this scale spontaneously, and maybe that's all the energy input, and it could have created a larger one. I don't know if I've ever seen them partially formed, like almost to the end, but still looking like this. I don't. This almost looks like it would continue. If it continued to form, it would literally merge the two sides, upset, like squish them. I'm like, could it do that? And then squish them to create a new pole. Merge this pole and this pole, bring the two poles together, and then the material realigns itself around the nucleus that then creates a top and bottom in a more traditional ammonite shape. I don't know. It's very odd. think I have taken pictures of this one, I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna just stop here though. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out. Peace. Till next time.